let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Kiddo Cave, and welcome to the new setup, as going to be doing these recorded videos likely early in the morning, and perhaps doing live streams pretty much every day on venues like Twitch and Mixer. And I think that's kind of the way forwards here. As the community's spoken, and the community's spoken pretty damn loudly, and I am actually more than happy to assuage this because, well, realistically, this is what I enjoy most. And I think to focus on Bitcoin during these dedicated videos, and then maybe a few shitcoins, and then perhaps some forex as well and traditional, I think that would be a good, just 20-30 minute long video, and then save the fun stuff for the live streams on Twitch and Mixer. Going through my analytics, that certainly seems to be what people are actually interested in. And, well, I am, like I said, more than happy to do that. So I want to address a few questions as well with regards to the holiday season, whatever holiday that you're celebrating. I wish you the best on it. But as far as all the content going on here, we'll be bringing back the Jewel around that time. We are on schedule. I just spoke with the developer, which I'm really, really happy about. And all of the new app is on schedule as well. So we are aiming for around Christmas, perhaps in like this next week. It's actually the 17th of December today. So we're actually literally about 1 week away from, holy shit, man. Time's fucking flying. This is insanity. We're like what? Like 1 week and 1 day away from Christmas? Holy shit. Anyways, yeah, so the app will be 100% free for the base for the base version of it. It's going to, around Christmas, maybe not have the full functionality, but we'll be working on that, and we'll very, very likely get the first version out. The Jewel is going to be coming along with it, of course, and it's going to be available to all platforms. So whether you're on iOS, whether you're on Android, whether you're on Linux, whether you're on PC, Master Race, you will be getting you can have access on there as well. So looking very much forward to that. Keep an eye out for that. We're going to be announcing it as the date comes closer. We're kind of putting on the final touches right now and should begin testing it by the end of the week. So everything's looking pretty damn cool. I also have potentially some other cool announcements in the nearish future as well, but I need to titrate those down. And then more importantly, the coolest announcement that I have is that Jackie's going to be coming on relatively soon. We're going to likely record a video later today, do some more psychological topics, and then also he's going to be offering his mentoring group to this community, which the signups are going to start, I guess whenever we post that video, and then the group will start in early January and run for 2 months, and he's going to take 5 people on for a more, more close-knit group mentoring dynamic. And he'll explain that, and I'm really excited for that because I think he's the person to do it. I really enjoy talking about psychology, but he has the results, and that's most important to me. So I feel comfortable with him, and man, I am very much looking forward to that. So with all of that said, I think it's time to wish you the best, and also the happiest. See that I don't even have my windows open right now, man. It's too fucking dark outside. It's almost depressing, you might say. Anyways, with that said, let's get into the live stream right now. I'm gonna press that button and I'll see you there, baby. There we go, teleporting into the live stream right now, and Bitcoin on the 12-hour. We're actually getting the move that we spoke about yesterday. Down to our first target, down around about 6,900, having a little bit of a stutter step right around here, and I do believe that we likely have lower to go. So overall, we have broken this ascending triangle to the downside. We were walking this whole one down for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's just been your classic bear market walk down. You get these quick wicks to the upside, they get quickly sold off. You end up with like 50% or less of them by the actual close on a time frame that's even small in some cases, and then fall through to the downside. So I honestly consider this broken right on this level right here that we saw over the weekend. But we didn't get fall through until yesterday, really. But you can see that each level gets retested once, or in some cases even twice on this one. And then after that, no closures are happening above that prior level, and then we just get walked down to the next one. And in this case, this ascending triangle does have a measure move all the way down here towards about 6,650, which is in line with our last prior low, and also is in line with the 886 Fibonacci tracement from the ultimate high to the ultimate low of this past consolidation right here. So I do believe that Bitcoin is still overall bearish. I still believe that we have lower to go. But the question is, I'm sure, do we bounce a little bit here in the lower time frames around this upper 68, lower 69 number? as we did hit the 786 Fibonacci retracement right here. That to me is less important than the overall feeling of this, which is obviously a downtrend. And while I would say that, is it possible that we pop back up here? Yeah, maybe. If we do, I would be looking for perhaps another test of about $7,000. But we're trending below all major moving averages right now. This was a nice consolidation right here, obviously. And we have actually officially broken that. Volume signature is confirming this as well. So to me, we are now trending once again to the downside. This is no longer consolidation where you'd expect, a small stutter step here and then maybe retest back up towards like 71 or 7200-ish region. I don't believe that that's going to be happening. I believe that if we actually do go back around there, something new, a new dynamic within this market is going on. We are no longer, we perhaps might be doing a little bit of a bear trap. I don't think that that's what's happening right here. But if that were to happen, if we were to go up, above, like, let's call it 7,200, make a higher high above this last little stutter step right here, then yes, I do believe that's something that would be indicative of some new going on, and this likely being a trap. But again, we do have, I wouldn't necessarily call this breakout volume, but it is outside of the norm, and you do see that we're kind of breaking this regression that we see on the volume, which is indicative that yes, this is a real break, and we likely do hit the target of this. Bitcoin loves triangles. I love triangles. Triangles are fucking great, and probably one of the best patterns in cryptocurrency land, I'd say. Don't really care about too many other patterns, but triangles do seem to work out pretty damn well. So, to me, yes, we are having a little bit of a sideways action here at the 786, but overall the feeling is down. It's been down for a while, and more importantly, the higher timeframes are very much bearish. But we'll get to the higher timeframes in a little bit later here. I want to pull up a fresher chart, and let's go down to let's kind of wrap up the lower timeframes first. So 4-hour Stokes going to be still absolutely just shredded in this region. Like, just it's pathetic is what it is. 4-hour RSI is still trending, and more importantly, we will be building some divergences at some point, but you can see that through these last couple points, there's going to be no divergence to be found. And what does that tell us? That tells us that this is unlikely to be the low right here. We're probably going to make another lower low below that. I would say about 6,600, 6,650, and then we'll probably create some divergence on a time frame like this, and perhaps get a sizable bounce after that. We'll get to that a little bit later, but more importantly, we do see historical volatility percentile finally expanding. So we got that. So we are seeing what we were looking for over the last day. We did say that it was likely to break, today, or between yesterday and today, and this is confirming it. Now, here's the thing with historical volatility percentile. It does suggest that this move is actually just getting started, and historically speaking, we see some pretty fucking massive moves when we get a signature like this. And the signature that I'm looking at is the one that I'm highlighting right here, where we're kind of getting all these zero reads. This is, basically a part of the same breakdown that we're looking at right now. The last time that we were this low was in November, middle of November, before moving down from 8,800 to basically 6,600. So that's a $2,000 move. The time before that we were this low was back on over here in September. This was basically precipitating the move from 10.3 all the way down to 8,000, or a little bit below 8,000. So another massive move. The time before that was this guy right here in early September, from about 10,000 all the way to 11,005. So a little bit over $1,000 move. Time before that was right on over here on this move from 10 to 12. So another $2,000 move right there. I mean, these are pretty fucking massive. These are very tradable. And the time before that was back all the way on over here, on the switch around from bear to bull, when we broke out from about 36. You can say that we hit 42 after that, so about $1,000 move. But realistically, that one got much more fall through over time. I just want to show that we are likely looking at a bigger move than just a few $100 that we've done thus far. It's just tightened up quite a bit. And more importantly, not only do we see a read like this on the 4-hour, but if we go to like a 12-hour, we're getting to extremes as well. In fact, we're not getting to extremes. We are at extremes. This is massively extreme right here. We are literally on a zero read right now. And you can see that 12-hour has not even expanded at all. So this is saying that if we really do take another leg down here, this is just getting started, and it's going to be quite nasty. I'm trying to find some other examples of when we were this low. Most notably was this one was a little bit too soon in middle of November. But again, about a move from 9,000 down to currently where we are currently now, really. So multi-$1,000 move right there. Time before that we were this low, we have to go all the way back to November 2018. That was breaking 6,000 all the way down to 3,000, a 50% reduction in price action for them Bitcoin bullish bungholes out there, baby. And same thing right on over here on this move, all the way from 84 down to 6,000. Same thing on this move right here. walking us the whole way down. And before that, we'd have to go into the past prior market cycle, which, I don't really want to do that right now, but you get the idea. And so when we see these same reads, when we see that this get to extremes on volatility, on historical volatility percentile from just the lower timeframes and the higher timeframes, that is what typically does mark up these big moves. So lower timeframes are naturally going to always show a low volatility reading when we are staring a move in the face. But the severity of that move is not really defined. We have to go to our higher time frames, like a 12-hour, which is not a fucking higher time frame, by the way, but higher in relation to like a 4-hour, a 1 hour, a half hour, and that can give us an insight into the potential severity of that move. So this is why I do think that while short term while short term we might go a little bit sideways here, overall I am still bearish, and this is just a fucking downtrend, man. We're downtrending on all time frames that matter. Look at the 12-hour jewel. I mean, it's giving you a continuation sell signal right here. I would not take it in this range, because this is like the opposite of where you want to get it up here. This was like a great buy signal right here on the 24th of October, by the way, before this massive pump from like 74 all the way to 10.5. But it's telling you that pressure is still very much to the downside. So Bitcoin's looking like absolute shit here, and looking at 12-hour RSI, we still got plenty of room to the downside here. Yes, we will be building some divergences, but that would suggest that we do get continuation sooner rather than later. 12-hour Stokes also beat up quite a bit as well. We don't have too many examples of them actually getting this far down and staying this far down for that long. So we probably are in for a decent sized bounce somewhere around 6,600 to 6,700. You could even say that maybe we're already there right now. It's close enough when you look at the greater scheme of things, that sort of a bounce can just be another bearish reset as long as we are below. Where's a critical number now? I mean, shit, we can look at a daily. Let's just go to a weekly. We might as well go to a weekly now. As long as we are below this last lower high, which is now confirmed at this 7,500 region right here, Bitcoin's bearish. Bitcoin's in a downtrend. There's no reason in my mind at all whatsoever to be overall bullish. And I would say that any sort of a move back up to even like the 89 exponential moving average right here, which is 7250, is going to be met with some pretty staunch resistance. Now, I do want to go back on over to CMEs because, well, not back on over. We haven't talked about them today. I'm sure a lot of people are saying, but guys, we have a gap at 7,200, and I read about this one on crypto Twitter. We must go fill it. Well, funny thing about gaps, man, when you have an actual breakout formation, a breakout pattern, which this is a descending triangle getting broken to the downside, that's actually what you want to see to confirm your fucking broken pattern. I mean, I hate that gaps have become such a meme in this market. I hate that moving averages have become such a meme in this market, but it's because people misuse them. I don't know where people are getting this information from, unless, perhaps maybe I am wrong in this one, perhaps we do pop back up there, but I would say that's indicative of something else going on, man. We have a lot of things going on CMEs. And once again, the CME chart is just so much easier to read. We have the death cross going on right here, green 55 to the downside of the purple 200. We see Bitcoin below all major moving averages. We see a descending triangle right here. If we get a gap down open, that's your legitimizing of the pattern being broken to the downside on volume. Look, this is comparable to kind of what got us into this region. The consolidation's over. We're fucking moving now, baby. And we got plenty of room to move here. Looking at daily Stokes, plenty of room to the downside. Plenty of fucking room to the downside. Not only that, but we just got rejected. We got rejected from getting out of the bearish control zone. I understand that a lot of Elliott waivers are calling this the start of our C wave. And we're going to, your fucking C cunt target is what that really is. Sorry, I don't mean to say that. I mean continuous target is what that means. It's shorthand for continuous. YouTube algorithm, don't ban me. Anyways, you get my point here. This is showing that the trend is still very much down, and we're actually getting a breakout now. We have a closure on a daily schedule below our last sort of major spike down on this hammer reversal that that kind of led up into that consolidation. So again, we have something new going on is what this likely tells us. Now, I do think that it is relevant to be aware of this trend line here. I usually really dislike diagonals, but this one seems to have been getting a lot of love on the way down, as much as I dislike that. And guess where the next proverbial target would be? It would be kind of around this trend line. So 6,600-ish region, give or take, a few bucks is kind of where I'd be looking towards, and probably does meet up with a little bit of a, at the very least, a pity bounce there, and maybe even it does reverse. We'll get to that, in a little bit later, but. Overall, all major moving averages are bearish on all higher time frames that matter, even on the lower time frames as well. Patterns bearish, structure is bearish, even fibs are bearish. I mean, my Elliott waves are telling me we bounce here. Oh my God, man! I still, after over a decade of doing this, still don't know a single Elliott wave trader who is successful over a long period of time, who uses that as their main source of edge. I do know some people who use it as a tertiary source of edge. But then it's like, man, do you even need that many sources of edge at that point? But fair enough, to each their own. And of course, anyone who is out there who is listening, who uses Elliott Wave and who is very successful with it, and that's awesome, man. I'm happy for you, but I'm just kind of sharing my own experience, because I do know that right now there's a shit ton of people on crypto Twitter saying about how Bitcoin is starting the C wave and we're going to the moon. It's like, okay, well, all right. Elliott, wave your money goodbye, baby. Anyways, going back down to lower time frames, even on CMEs, we actually don't have a 4-hour close below our last prior low, but again, that would be right around that 6650-ish number, and we are trading about parity with spot right now as well. So does kind of line up with that next potential bounce zone from a time frame that probably does produce a little bit of results. However, the thing with this is that what are we constructing right here? If we do come down to that region, well, we'll basically be making, especially if we do bounce there, we'll likely be making a inverted cup and handle. I mean, now. It's a lot easier on the Sol when you look at it on this, on an inverted chart, right? You could look at this as an ascending triangle. You could look at this as potentially a cup in the formation. No matter which way you kind of cut it, it's a reaccumulation formation, which is on the inverted chart, unfortunately. So again, those are in place, and that would say that we likely see continuation from this region. Anyways, I want to go back on to spot prices. Been a little bit all over this one today. Actually, let's go down to the very low time frames. Do we have any sort of divergences suggesting that we do bounce here a little bit? Yeah, we do a slight amount. So maybe, if this does bounce back up, like 69.30, 69.50 is kind of where I'd be looking towards. Not anything too impressive, but I suppose that would be like a $60 move from here, potentially potentially $100 move from here. I suppose that's okay. Looking at hourly stokes, they're actually pointed up right now. What about 2 hour? What about bi-hourly? They're actually down. Triple hourly is down, but going to be meeting this trend line, I suppose. So we actually potentially are in a lower time frame bounce area. Do not mistake a lower time frame bounce area with taking out anything on the higher time frames. Again, Bitcoin is, in my opinion, very bearish as long as we're below the breakdown point at around 70.40. Let's just call it 70.50, easier on the Sol. Right here from a lower time frame perspective, and very bearish from a higher time frame perspective as long as we're below the last weekly pivot, which is 75.50 now. That gets walked down. And from a daily perspective, if you want to take it from there, I'd say it's very bearish as long as below this last little high at about 72.50, 7300-ish region. So, that's how all of the time frames are kind of interplaying with each other. And you can see that we have a lot of work to do over here if Bitcoin is going to flip the script and fuck all bearish bungholes, shish kebab style. Unfortunately, right now, though, it looks the other way around. And looking at major moving averages, I just want to once again put the spotlight on all major moving averages on the daily. They've been getting it right, and they've been getting it right very, very well over the last, basically over the history of Bitcoin. But it's not the fucking same way that goddamn crypto Twitter uses it. Crypto Twitter is still stuck on the 50 simple and the 100 simple crossing. It's like, this happened one time in history before, and that means moon, baby. It's like, what the fuck, man? Anyways, okay, so on the daily right here, we have all lower periods trading below higher periods. We have all major moving averages with a negative slope. Also the 200 simple as well, even the 377, which is an even higher period than that. And they're all so they're all downward sloping. We have all lower periods below higher periods, and we have the same splayed out effect that we had precipitated in our last major downwards market, which was right on over here. And I would argue that this was really the point where the market really did turn on this rejection from 10,000 when we got rejected from the 200 simple right here. Very similar to what we're looking at right on over here, although Bitcoin did get above it for a bit. It doesn't need to be the exact same, just the relationship of, or sorry, the overall, what's it called? The problem is I don't want to make this sound like a fucking fractal. It's not. It's just telling us what price action is doing over the long period of time with averages. It's just it, man. It's just a little bit of math. But we get the death cross right here between the green 55 and the purple 200 on the daily. Same thing right here. We get all lower periods trading below higher periods right here. A little bit after that, same thing right here with the last one of the cyan 89 and the purple 200. And then Bitcoin is held below the 21 the whole way through on this consolidation, on this little consolidation before the next major move down. And same thing right on over here. Bitcoin gets held by the 21 the whole way down, defining your lower highs. In fact, we could, I'd feel very comfortable saying that Bitcoin is still downtrending as long as we're below the 20 exponential moving average, or the 21, the yellow guy right there, and trending very hard as long as below the 10 simple, which is actually below that right now, of course. So on top of that, you do see that the 200 simple right here, which provided the rejection for price action earlier, starts to curl down and get a negative slope after all of the prior things that we just spoke about happened. Same thing right on over here, right? So could Bitcoin, at some later date pop back up and test around the 200 simple? Yes, but I would be looking for the next major high on a macro scale to be put on there, because keep in mind that this 200 simple is now moving down below with a negative slope below the last prior macro high right here. If you're looking at like a monthly, no longer on a weekly, because the weekly has been moved down to about 75.50. So that means from a macro view, we have a shit ton of work to do before this really ever turns around to being, like super bullish anytime soon. And major moving averages are staring in the face. Of note, all these guys down here, not only just these guys down here, but the 200 simple right here, which should give Bitcoin quite a bit to chew on. So we are seeing all sorts of very nasty things happen in this market. And I do think that we're probably, I'm not going to say like the exact same move as this, although I am curious what sort of percentage move this produced, about 25%. I'm curious what that would put off from our last local high. That put us, that would actually put us down in the mid fives, which I do think that that's a very, very strong area for a potential reversal, and extremely strong area for a nice bouncy bounce. So yeah, anyways, again, I'm not calling a move down there right now. I'm just saying that, that would be of interest. If I do put on all of my, let's actually go to this chart right here. I do want to go back to the weekly for a second. Again, all over on this one. I do apologize, but it's been an early morning for myself. We do have a head and shoulders on the weekly, of course, and as long as we're below the neckline of this, which is pretty much in line with the 55 exponential moving average right here, it is valid, and the target of it is also valid and very much in place, and that's pointing us all the way down to the mid to low 4,000s. However, I would be taking this chart one step at a time. Again, this is a channel dedicated towards traders, not fucking crystal ballers. And crystal balling is great, but there's no real skin in the game, and who gives a fuck if you call a move if you don't play it, right? My point with this is that even though we do have this in place, and it is still very much valid as long as we're below this point right here, again about 7,900, I would still treat each and every one of these horizontals as potential reversal points. So including the one that we're currently on right now, or that we based off of about a month ago, which is about 6,600, by the way. So that area is also going to be met not just by this major horizontal from a historical standpoint, but also the volume profile suggesting some major activity in this region right here. So if we come back down around there, does it make sense for at the very least a short and medium term? Yeah, it does. And it also would suggest that if we do break this, if we actually do shoot on through this, there's very little holding you up. Bitcoin will slice like a knife through butter, or hot butter maybe is the saying. Let me just make sure that I'm recording. I am recording. Great. All right, perfect. Already 20 minutes in. Holy shit, man. That's insane. It does suggest that we could actually shoot all the way through down. However, I would say that I would actually not be looking for that. I'd be looking for a sizable bounce at this horizontal right here in the mid fives. Not only is it kind of like that measured move that we just kind of looked at, but it's also the 786 Fibonacci retracement right here. And you can see that the 200 simple and 200 exponential moving averages on the weekly time frame are actually likely going to meet up with that price action right there. And from a volume profile perspective, on a healthy asset, what you really want to see is you want to see like you want to see like a pyramid being built, kind of where where like your highest value nodes are on the bottom marked, and then kind of like builds up after that. You can think of that as like building a very strong structure or strong foundation for a high structure. The bigger the more robust you build the foundation, aka the more volume that you have building out the lower end of it, the higher you can build it, and it still kind of maintains its integrity. We can see that we kind of skipped this area right here on the way down, back in 2018, and on the way up in 2019. And it would actually make a lot of sense for a healthy market to come back into that region and test it. Assets typically do like to figure out, exactly who is around there, and you can think of this as like a gap in price action, essentially, and it would kind of insinuate the same sort of thing. It quite literally is actually the same sort of thing when you're thinking of like a gap on CMEs and a gap on the volume profile. They show you about the same sort of idea, just in different ways. And this one being no different right here. So it actually kind of would make a lot of sense to come back down around there. And like I said, potential reversal point, extremely strong likelihood for a bounce within that region. But that is only really viable after we break this current level that we're sitting on right now, which is, again, it's about 6,600, we'll call it. If we do get like a daily little closing below there, I would be looking for that next level to be tapped ultimately. Probably not going to happen at the snap of Nicholas Martin's fingers right there, but I do believe that it would ultimately work its way down there, and then we get to do kind of the same thing right here with this next point, a little bit lower, which is actually the 886 Fibonacci retracement down around the mid 4,000s, in line with the measure move of this head and shoulders. And I won't go over the full long-term analysis during this video because we've done it a million times, and it's also more readily available on the playlist that I upload on YouTube titled Long-Term Analysis. And I won't go through like the full rigmarole in there. I'm trying to focus on mostly the lower time frames here, but I'm doing a terrible job of it. So feel free to reprimand me in the comments. Probably deserve this one. Anyways, yeah, so that's what I'm looking at right there. I want to put the spotlight. I promised myself I wouldn't do long-term analysis here, but I do want to go back to the weekly jewel, getting the sell signal right once again on the 11th of November, telling you to hodl your shorts that you started in early July, which was in the 5 digits back on over here at about 11.5, and and again telling you to reshort or add onto your short or hodl your short on this move back up to 8,000 that we got a couple weeks ago, and still has some room to the downside. Not only that, weekly RSI is heavily bearish here. We are stuck back in the bearish control zone, and to me, once we kind of whenever you see a signature like this where you tap the bearish control zone for a second, pop back up, then get rejected and come back down, that's saying you want to get comfortable within that region, and I do believe that that's likely what's happening here. And we do obviously see weekly Stokes down as well, although they are kind of, they're pretty mature here. So I don't know, I mean, do they like to stay down here for too long, historically speaking? Actually, no. To be fair enough. So let's see. I see that Ivan on Tech just went live. Nice, man. Good to see you, man. Ivan, where are you? Never mind. Anyways, okay, cool. So let's go back on to the 4-hour perhaps. Yeah, good volume on the 4-hour here too. Again, this is what you want to see for an actual breakdown. I do believe that is suggesting that this move is real. Okay, let's go check out GBDC. I haven't looked at them today. It's mostly a fresh look on the charts for myself. Down as well, making new lows. Actually, GBDC has closed on new lows. Is GBDC leading to the downside? I believe here's my theory on GBDC. For the upside moves on GBDC, I don't have an opinion. I actually think that spot might lead GBDC, or GBDC is just irrelevant and kind of like happens at the same time. But for the downside moves in line with the macro trend, GBDC does seem to lead. GBDC actually does seem to lead. So it closing on new lows, I do think is indicative that we see spot price action follow through. And we got the same sort of moving average kind of crossings going on that we saw in CMEs right here. And we got the same descending triangle going on right here. And this is a very clear and obvious break. And the measure move on this break would actually be pointing us down probably to the 5,000 level. If I had to guess. Oh, I guess I already have it in there. Hey, what's going on here? What's going on here, man? Yeah, it would be. So it's actually beautifully in line with this next horizontal, which is coming in from our mid-April consolidation of this current year, which again was like the mid to high 5,000s. So it actually would be suggesting that we do get back down around there. Okay, cool. Let's go check out Bitcoin dominance, and we'll go check out some shitcoins. Maybe do a quick review of the traditional markets, and then maybe even like the pound yen forex pair. Bitcoin dominance, bullish as fuck. I did say that I keep on saying that I am medium long-term bullish on this week. I actually did think that it was going to have a little bit of a downtick here, but overall, this is why I do focus on the long term for this, because I don't really trust myself on the short term for this thing. It's gonna be more in line with what Bitcoin does, and Bitcoin being bearish was a more obvious call. Cardano is probably going to be back down to the low side of the range. Oh my God, is this just another lower high right here? But what did they say on their Reddit page? There was something about news and fundamentals and wrecked. Probably coming back down even lower than that. I'd say probably comes back down to the low side of the range, and I'd say mostly the same for most other alts, including even the darling of this this market, Link. I do think that Link comes back down short term to 26,000 Satoshis, probably even lower than that, a little bit more medium long term, maybe down in this region right here, right around like 23,000 Satoshis perhaps. Most alts going to be coming down versus Satoshis, as alts typically don't fare too well when Bitcoin is having its own downside displeasures. Let's go check out, I suppose we could very quickly look at Litecoin, Bitcoin. Bearish as fuck, breaking the descending triangle to the downside. Probably the next, I don't know why I have this horizontal. Well, oh yes, I do know why I have this horizontal in here. That's the next target. What about Mr. Buterol? Oh no! A downtrend! It continues and it doesn't stop! Make it stop, Bear Jesus! Bear Jesus coming in dry with these massive girthy red dildos. Bear Jesus, where are you? Show me! Fuck. Bear Jesus is actually on vacation right now. I apologize. I can't find him. Hey, Bear Jesus, where the fuck did you go? Hold on. Is this the right one? Nope. Hey, that didn't even do anything. God damn it, man. All right, well, you know what, Bear Jesus, we will come back to you another day, my friend. Maybe. No? Oh well. Bear Jesus, where art thou? Please give me your hands. Lend me your prayers, Bear Jesus. For I have sinned. I have believed in Bitcoin memes of HODL and DCA, and now I am #wrecked. Bear Jesus, show me the way, for we are the one true believers of your red dildos. Bear Jesus, shish kebab all these bullish Anguses, and show us who is the true Lord and Savior of this market. Bear Jesus, I pray to thee. Amen. All right, so if you're still listening after that, you are a true believer in this channel, and I want to thank you. And for all the people who left after that, well, fuck them. No, just kidding. But, you know, I don't blame you, but at the same point in time, I always get these messages like, you are the one channel that does very crass language out of the YouTubers who, whatever the fuck. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Litecoin, we got some bullish selling going on over here too. Oh man, this is some great bullish selling. Litecoin really getting nailed on the head right there. I do think that Litecoin's actually in a bounce territory, even though Bitcoin probably does have some more downside to go. I do think that Litecoin bounces within this region. Let me kind of make a nice liquid territory for this. Let me get rid of all the drawings and actually just do this, because this is the most relevant thing right now. Litecoin does look like it's kind of in a bounce area right here. Anywhere within this region is probably good. And of course, we did break this ascending triangle to the downside, but the measure move on this one's likely already been hit if I had to eyeball this. Let me just let me confirm with magical trend lines right here. There we go. Yep. Nailed to the T. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. What about Mr. Buterol? Oh, no! Vitalik Buterol sold in your faces at the top, by the way, which was revealed in a podcast as of recent times. Same thing here on Mrs. Litecoin, already hit the measure move, and I do think that it's actually kind of in a bounce area. Anywhere within this territory right here. So maybe another small move to the downside to tap 127.5, but I do think that it goes maybe through a little bit of a sideways consolidation there, perhaps. All right, so all the other altcoins, we can disagree. They all look the same. Fucking altcoins, lazy altcoins, taking our gerbs. Racist against altcoins, apparently. I'm just curious what Ripple Me Nipple's doing. Oh no! Oh, fuck! Brad Garlic House! You told me this was under accumulation on the inverted chart. Yeah, man, wrecked AF. We actually finally hit the mid-teens target from a while ago. And what is this? A weekly downtrend. A weekly downtrend doing more downside? I'm shocked. For anyone who's listening to this, you must think I'm just the most biggest fucking dumb idiot. Well, you know what? You're right. And you should turn off this video immediately. Anyways, let's go look at traditional markets for a second here. What do we have here? 319.5, new all-time highs. Holy shit, surprising. We've been bullish on this one for a while. I'd still be bullish on it. We can actually even move the point of turning once again to 315 now. It gets moved up from this past prior point of about 311. Now getting another $4 higher. Man, crypto anarchists very mad about this one. Very mad about this one. But traditional market's very, very strong here. And, do we get a pullback in the lower time frames? Maybe. Actually, did kind of end the day on a little bit of a downtick. But, if it came back down to 317.5, wouldn't be a huge issue. I do think that it'd bounce there. However, this looks like a legitimate breakout. It's just like what we talked about on Bitcoin. When you have a nice gap up open after a nice consolidation, that's your legitimizing of that formation being broken to the upside. And in this case, I'm sure someone's going to say, but we have a gap. No, it's already been filled. Wick to body right here. It's completely fine. Doesn't need to be exact. It doesn't need to be exact fill. Doesn't need to always be like that. Of course, again, gaps have just become a meme in this market, and I really dislike that. But I'm not the fucking arbiter of what of what that is. Let's go check out pound yen for a second here. Pound yen finally coming down a little bit. I do think that it comes down a little bit more, but overall. The big thing here to me is that we're getting rejected from the 377 on the highs of 147. And I do think that we probably come back down to test the 200 simple over time towards 144.2 and then probably bounce from there. The thing is that higher time frames are still very much downtrending. Here's our weekly still very much downtrending. So while I do think that you bounce at like the low 142, 143 region, I do think that longer term we're still in a downtrend, and this is likely just going to play out as hidden bearish divergence here. I think that we probably just hit a major high. I mean, shit, man, we got an even higher RSI tick than late January of 2018 when price was up all the way on over here. So this is showing that bulls are using a lot more force here, but getting less of the way. So we probably do come back down a little bit longer term, but I would still, shorter term on this thing floats around a lot. Although it does look like it wants to go down here. But I don't really have an opinion other than the higher time frames, funnily enough, which is usually opposite of what I say. We'll also look at the euro dollar as well. Euro dollar looks like it's uptrending right here as well. In fact, the euro dollar looks like it probably does turn the corner on a weekly. Now, it hasn't happened just yet, and I would certainly wait for confirmation, but any sort of a weekly close above 111.5 or 111.6, 111.7, and I'd kind of extend this target all the way up into this region up here towards like 113, 113.5, as we would have our first higher high in like a couple years, maybe going all the way back to beginning of 2018, so almost 2 years now, which is pretty damn significant. Anyways, I think that's going to pretty much do it. I'll wrap up Bitcoin one more time. Bitcoin downtrend in all time frames that matter. A little bit of a starter step at this 6850 to 6900 level we spoke about yesterday. If it does bounce up more than here, I don't have an opinion on that. I just have an opinion on as long as we maintain this downtrend, even on the lower time frames, by remaining below about 7100, 7050-ish region, then I am looking for further downside for the target to be hit down around about 6600, 6650-ish region, give or take, whatever it ends up being. Probably bounce somewhere right around there, and I would remain overall bearish, especially as long as, again, we are below this last little prior high, which was 71, but on a daily schedule, that would be 7250 right here, and on a weekly schedule, 7550. And to me, this is a formation breaking down right now. And that to me tells me that we're not, we're probably not going to do something like that. But if we did get back above there, that would be a change of behavior, and I would not be as bearish as I am right now. But right now I am quite bearish, and I do believe that we get further on follow through, not just deemed by spot price action, but by CMEs and GBTC as well, which are currently GBTC already making new lows, closing on new lows, which is pretty damn significant, and hard to love this chart right here. So. Do I expect another bounce at 6650? Yes, probably. Short and medium time frames. Could it be a reversal? I will treat it as potential. I don't think it's very likely, but I'll treat it as potential until told otherwise. And being told otherwise would be, a daily close below, let's call it like 66, would be quite emphatic. So for now, I will be signing off. I'll actually go live on Twitch and Mixer directly after that. I'll put a link in the description of this video, and also I'll go live again later tonight for like the American morning, because it's just a lot easier to have a more chill session and talk it out there, and then have like these more dedicated videos here on YouTube. So I think that's the way that I'm gonna be going forwards here. So without further ado, I'd like to wish you well, as always. I would like to apologize for all of the autistic outrages and outbursts. It's just unfounded, but hey, it's early in the morning for me, man. I gotta titillate myself somehow. If I even know it, I don't even know what that fucking word means, but it sounds like it's right. and I'll be signing on onto Twitch right after this. So take care, and until next time.